Hey guys, this is Epic Charismatic, and today we're going to go over yet another article written for a YouTuber who wants to get back into the good graces of their audience. So today we are going to go over this Vanity Fair article about Colleen Ballinger, and from what I've heard about it, I guess it's more so a puff piece than anything else, but let's just see if it's better than James's at least. So it is called How the Miranda Singh/Colleen Ballinger Scandal Went Off the Rails. Everything you need to know about the drama tearing YouTube apart. Okay. Alright, so let's get started. Colleen Ballinger has been a YouTube star for more than a decade, amassing tens of millions of followers, many of whom found her when they were teenagers or even younger. I have to say, I remember when she was huge on YouTube back in like 2013. Is when I started hearing of her, I think. And I remember watching other YouTubers and she would be featured in their videos or like one of their videos, right? Like they would do collabs and whatnot. And I remember just like hating the Miranda Sings character. I could not get over her voice. Like I hated it so much. I couldn't stand the character at all. I didn't see any humor in it. I just got irritated from it. And I was 15 at that time. So I think I think her fans were much younger than 15, the majority of them, to be able to find that funny. Because I was 15 and I found it irritating. Anyways, they fell hard for her potty comedy, and specifically her fictional alter ego Miranda Sings, a talentless adolescent. She was an adolescent? I guess that makes sense because the character was really immature. But anyways, who delusionally believes she can sing despite the fact that she's always off-key. The persona resonated with outcast kids who found her desperate desire for fame to be oh so accurately cringe. Such success earned Ballinger a Netflix series, sold-out live shows, and most recently, rapidly intensifying controversy. Yeah, okay. This introduction to who Colleen is fair. I'll say that. It's definitely fair. It's not overly hyping herself up too much, but it's not also being inaccurate, if that makes sense. I would say this is pretty accurate, except for this line saying that they found her when they were teenagers. I'm telling you, or even younger. I think it's mostly younger and maybe a few teenagers, but I can accept this. This isn't bad so far. Anyways. Late last month, Rolling Stone published a story alleging that Ballinger had engaged in inappropriate behavior with underage fans. The magazine verified screenshots of texts in which Ballinger asked a minor about their virginity status and their favorite sexual position. She also asked them to send pictures of their body. However inappropriate her alleged behavior was, the article clarified that no sexual crime had been committed and that no evidence in review even hinted at the possibility that Ballinger had intended to start a sexual relationship with the child. Ballinger did not respond to Rolling Stone's multiple requests for comment. Okay, so yeah, no one ever said that she was trying to groom them sexually. I think this is something I touched on in my Colleen video. But that being said, her brother, though, Trent, as far as we can tell, he definitely intended to start I think he may accurately fit that accusation. More than Colleen, anyway. Let's just put it at that. And Colleen is the one who gave him the access to a child to be able to do that with. So her accusations are really, really bad. And it's not something to sweep under the rug or to say, well, she wasn't really trying to groom them sexually. She was more so doing something else. Like, that is true. And it is to say that you shouldn't label her as someone who wants to commit those kind of crimes. But enabling somebody else, I mean, that's an accessory to a crime as far as I know. Legally, anyway. So, like, I don't like this. I don't like trying to defend her in this way. Primarily because, even though she hasn't done anything like that, she's enabled her brother to do some things that are in that realm. So that's already, to me, I already don't like this. I don't like this right now. To those steeped in the world of YouTube fandom, a chaotic, shape-shifting minefield. Why do they write about YouTube like this? They write about it like it's the wild, wild west and there's no rules and there's no laws or anything. I mean, I will say that YouTube has less laws than like Hollywood, but Hollywood's been around a lot longer, and we've been able to see the corruption there, and then they've been making laws like for child labor and stuff like that. But I don't know, it's not chaotic, it's not a shape-shifting minefield. I don't know, it's just, I don't know. I think as somebody who watches a lot of YouTube, I feel like YouTube makes sense. I don't think it's so random, but that's just my opinion. Many of these claims were not new. Ballinger had even already responded to some of them on YouTube, of course. Rolling Stone's piece was tame, legally sound, one could argue, compared to the language and rumors that had been flying around her for years. Yeah, Rolling Stone isn't going to write, like, a hit piece against her. They're a legitimate publication. They're definitely going to write something that's accurate and sticks to facts. Yet, its publication preceded starker allegations against Ballinger, getting similarly ushered into the mainstream press. A few days after the Rolling Stone piece went live, HuffPost published its own investigative report. Her fans say she groomed them as teens. In the ensuing weeks, Ballinger would be accused of everything from performing a Beyoncé song in blackface, as Miranda sings, to texting a sex worker's nude photo to a minor. Ballinger's legal team denied that she performed in blackface. Yeah, but no one denied that she texted a sex worker's nude photo to a minor, because that sex worker is the one and only Trisha Paytas, who is also on YouTube and who has confirmed that this has happened. So, okay. Definitely seeing some bias towards Colleen in this article, and I did hear that this was supposed to be a puff piece. Or not supposed to be, but people said it was a puff piece. Other people who have read it. So, yeah, I'm starting to see how that could be. But let's keep going. Her Sings tour has since been canceled. Her career abruptly stalled. What's wild is I remember Adam talking about this, and he was like, listen, all we want you to do is to just respond, apologize, or explain yourself, or both, and you could continue touring. Like, she didn't need to have her tour get canceled. She had a chance. Like, she had chances to do what she needed to do to get out of this so that she could continue touring. So she's kind of similar to James in that sense, in the sense that, like, at least part of her cancellation, definitely her tour cancellation, was totally in her hands, and she just fumbled that, so that's all on her. When she reached for comment, Ballinger's lawyer replied in an email that VF's inquiries were simply regurgitation of the baseless and unsubstantiated claims that other media outlets and individuals on social media had reported previously. That's a lie. That's just a lie. We definitely know that a lot of it is true. If not all of it is true. What was the only thing that wasn't true? That she was in blackface? People only said that because from far away it kind of looked like it, but... And that is really bad, don't get me wrong. That is a really bad thing to accuse someone to do when they haven't done it. But most of what she's been accused of is proven true. There's screenshots of messages, DMs, group chats. So many group chats. Oh my god. I do think the weirdest thing about her situation is probably those group chats. Because it's one thing, like H3, for example, they have a Discord. And I think that is a lot more moderated. Not that it matters what entity you use or what app you use. That doesn't really matter. But it's more of like how it's run, basically. Do you have mods? Do you have people like making sure that conversations don't go to places that are inappropriate? And we've seen through the group chats that she's been in that that's definitely not the case. And worse off, she's the one who initiates some, if not most of those conversations. So yeah, no, this is not true. The reality of some of these claims, and in turn the broader narrative around Ballinger, remains murky. They love to say that these accusations are murky, huh? They love to say, because the same thing with the Cosmopolitan article with James Charles, they said, oh, it's murky, what's going on with him. Like, people accused him, but some of them were liars, so we really can't tell what's going on. Like, dude, I don't know, like, do you think we're stupid or something? Like, we can tell what's going on. Like, we know what's true and what's not true. It's not hard to figure it out, But anyways, various allegations remain unverified, left to endlessly circulate as they fall under the ever-expanding umbrella of inappropriate behavior. Ever-expanding umbrella? That's a gross thing to say, in my opinion. To say ever-expanding umbrella of inappropriate behavior is really gross. Like, that is really, really gross, because it reminds me of when guys during the Me Too movement would be, like, scared. They're like, oh, I can never interact with a woman because, like, what if she views this as inappropriate? And it's like, that's a whole separate issue of, like, never being able to understand being in the position of a woman. But still, like, it's weird. It's like, you can't tell what could be harmful and what wouldn't be harmful. I don't believe you, really. Like, I don't believe that. Especially because you can always ask a person how they want to be treated and then treat them accordingly. Especially in the case of adults. So, like, I really don't feel bad for men in those situations. But with this, it's like, come on, you know what's appropriate for kids. You know what's not appropriate for kids. You can imagine. You know what I mean? Like, you must... I mean, she is a mother, too, so that makes it worse, And she wasn't a mother this whole time that she was doing these things to these children. But now, apparently, there's a new Weenies chat or something like that. Adam revealed pretty recently that that's the case, that she's still in group chats to this day. Like, you must know now how you would want your kids to be treated now that you have them. You know what I mean? So it's like, how are you going to say ever-expanding umbrella? Like, oh my God, everything's inappropriate. I can't even breathe in the same direction as a kid and it would be considered inappropriate. It's like, come on. You're such a liar. I hate that. I hate that so much. Hate when not criminals. I hate when people who like to do bad things to other people want to all of a sudden play stupid. Like, they don't know what's right and wrong anymore. It's like, it's just so they could get away with doing things that are wrong, just pretending they don't know that what they're doing is wrong. I'm not an idiot. In a sense, this is a familiar story for the social media age, but Ballinger's downfall is unique. She brought teens into an adult world and made it feel like it was theirs, then saw those fans turn against her. First of all, she wasn't supposed to do this. You're not supposed to bring teens into an adult world. You're not supposed to do that. Made it feel like it was theirs. It was. You gotta understand that they're the ones who gave her that platform. You know what I mean? Like, your fans make you, especially on YouTube. Like, that's literally how YouTube works, is you cultivate an audience, a group of people decide they like what you have to offer. Like, it's not like she's coming to YouTube as the celebrity and it's like, here, you guys can join my world. And then they joined it and then destroyed her. You know what I mean? I don't like this implication that she's the one who made the group in a figurative sense. I don't like that. It's the product of a particular era of YouTube stardom, of a digital persona able to cultivate a feverish and savvy fandom that's been trained to reverse course and maybe seek payback with the first spilling of tea. Payback for what? Payback for what? You can only ask for payback if something has been done by that person you're asking from. So, what did Colleen do to make fans want payback? That's, you're telling on yourself a bit, Vanity Fair. You're telling on yourself. You could be forgiven if you were one of the millions who, back in the summer of 2020, allayed some COVID anxiety by diving into YouTube drama unfolding between Ballinger and her former fan Adam McIntyre, a then 17-year-old. Ballinger was his idol. Her merch could be seen all over the He's Northern Irish, but yeah. Anyways, Irish teenager's bedroom where he recorded his own videos. He was an aspiring influencer himself, making sweet, low-stakes YouTube content about his life. On June 22nd, McIntyre posted a video to his channel titled, Colleen Ballinger, Stop Lying. In it, McIntyre told several seemingly unrelated stories. One recounted the time Ballinger sent him lingerie in the mail. To his mother's horror, the lingerie was new and unworn, and Ballinger has since apologized for sending it. Another was intended to debunk the rumor that he was secretly behind some anti-Miranda Sings social media accounts that Ballinger had gotten wind of. A third concerned the fallout of a tweet that Ballinger allowed McIntyre to post as Miranda Sings from the character's Twitter account that led to him never posting on her behalf again. He'd been considered her social media intern, he said, with hopes of being employed by her one day in that capacity. Ballinger says he only had access to her account for one day and that if all went well, she had planned to hire him formally. The tweet in question was seized upon as queerbaiting by Miranda's fandom. She came out as a Meghan Trainor fan and led to intense backlash. That's crazy that all of this came out from this. That's a lot. Okay, so Colleen claims that he only had access to her Twitter for a day. See, but that doesn't make sense though, because okay, this is why. Honestly, I'm inclined to believe Adam for many reasons, but pretending that I don't have any stakes in this, that I don't have any biases towards either of them, pretending I'm just getting this information as an outsider, this claim doesn't make sense at all. Ballinger says he only had access to her account for one day and that if all went well, she had planned to hire him formally. Why would you hire someone formally after letting them take control of your account for one day? How does that make any sense? Think about that. Like, would you ever say, okay, I'm going to have you do one small thing, one task in whatever field that you're in. And if you do good on this one thing, I'm going to hire you and start paying you a salary. How does that make any sense? And then especially for something like social media, like, no, that doesn't add up for me. Does that add up for you guys? Because I don't think this makes any sense at all. I would never hire someone on the basis of them doing work for one day. Unless they're like unless they're like some kind of genius or something. They really do something spectacular. But with social media, like, Rome wasn't built in a day. So why would you hire a social media intern based on their work that's done over the course of a day? It just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, the tweet in question, oh yeah, I already read that. Okay. It might sound strange to hear that Ballinger had put a fan in charge of her character's Twitter to begin with, but that access went in line with her public image. Ballinger was closely aligned with her most devoted young viewers. For her to remove that access, as McIntyre experienced, felt painful. How would you know that felt painful? This is weird. It's like you're speaking for her. You know what I mean? Like, how would you know this at all? The access went in line with her public image. How, though? How? All we know so far, generally speaking, of her public image is that you have this character, Miranda Sings, who's supposed to be a teenager that's like cringe and weird. And yeah, like, she gathers an audience of like outcast kids. Okay, but how do you go from that sort of character and audience to the character in the audience, or not even the character in the audience, that the woman behind the character, along with her audience, all of a sudden they're like on speaking terms and they're like friends with each other? How do you jump from the first situation to the next? I don't think that that's something that was just inherent to her platform at all. Like, I think that was all behind the scenes stuff that happened because she got famous and she wanted to do that, right? Well, I don't even know. I think from what I've heard, it was fans that kind of initiated a group chat and then she got involved in it. But regardless, like, in my opinion anyway, she shouldn't have never been in those group chats. I think fans can be in group chats with each other to talk about the celebrity or YouTuber or whoever they're interested in. That makes sense to me. But it doesn't make sense to say that some YouTuber who's playing some kind of character online gathers an audience and a part of the culture of that character. And that character is Miranda Sings, by the way. So It's Miranda Sings, you know what I mean? It's not like she's just a character that you're supposed to cringe at and laugh at, and that's it. Like, nothing beyond that, right? So to say that you're gonna go from watching someone play a character and laugh at that character to being intimately involved, or not intimately, to be personally involved with the quote-unquote actress. I don't want to give her too much hype or credit for playing that character, but the actress behind it. Like, in what other world does someone play an awkward character and all of a sudden the actor themselves is like in group chats with fans? Like, that's a leap in my opinion. But anyway, McIntyre felt that Ballinger was guilting him, selfishly preoccupied with her reputation rather than his feelings. After the backlash, she apologized for the tweet. Later, she denied ever blaming McIntyre and said she should have reviewed his tweets more carefully. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure he showed proof that he was blamed. I'm trying to think. I think it was the Cody Tyler video she revealed. I mean, I know that Cody Tyler revealed that she planned the video that she made in defense of Colleen back in 2020 with Colleen. Like, she was kind of coaxed into making that video by Colleen and Colleen's bestie, you know, Corey. But let me think about this for a second. I'm not totally sure. If you know, say it in the comments, but I'm not totally sure about this claim right here. Me personally, I'm biased. I just believe Adam. I'm sure he has evidence somewhere, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. All right. Then came the YouTube response to McIntyre's YouTube accusation, a classic back and forth. If the names James Charles and Tati Westbrook mean anything to you, you get the idea. Okay, I like this. This is funny. Sorry. All right. Ballinger, 33 at the time of her response to a teenager, posted a classic apology vlog. She revealed screenshots of Instagram DMs she'd sent to McIntyre and one that McIntyre's mother had purportedly sent to her, which seemed to be Ballinger's way of assuring viewers of what really happened, a strategy not unlike McIntyre's. In a DM, she accuses him of going too far. Oh yeah, how was this too far? Like, I always thought that was weird that in her apology video or whatever, I think it was called Addressing Everything. I think that's what it was called. Where she was like, I was just mad that she tried to bring up my son in his drama. And it's like, dude, you saw his message. He said, I heard about you guys or whoever it was talking badly about me in group chats behind my back. I'm only 17 years old. Imagine if somebody did that to your son when he's a teenager. How is that, like, going too far? Like, you're doing that to somebody else's son. You know what I mean? And that's the big thing about Colleen that we kind of all came to the conclusion of. Like, she is kind of narcissistic and she's the only one who's important. Like, other mothers, other people in general aren't important, you know? But, like, that was actually a really good point that he made. And for her to just go, don't bring my son into this. Well, exactly. Don't bring his mother's son into this. You know what I mean? She also elaborated upon the lingerie incident. Yeah, so that incident. Yeah, see, this isn't true. He didn't ask for the article. They asked him if he wanted it, and he said yes. That's not the same thing, right? I don't think that's the same thing anyway. Because the idea came from them. The idea came from them of like, you know, it'd be funny to send this to a fan because, like, it's so ugly and whatever. And then he was like, and they were like, Adam, do you want it? Do you want the bra and panties? Like, they asked him. Like, it's on video. I watched it. You know what I mean? You can find it online and watch it. So, no, he didn't ask for the article of clothing. He said he would want it as a response to them asking if he wants it. So, that's a lie. Or instead of saying it's a lie, it's a misrepresentation of the truth. at best. He'd even sent photos of himself jokingly posing in the underwear to group chats that included her. Yeah. But again, he was 14, I'm pretty sure, when that happened. That is so gross. That's gross of her to facilitate anything like that. That's so weird. It's weird that would happen. It's weird that you're even wanting to. Yeah, you can't frame this. The way that Colleen tries to get out of, not accountability, but to get out of the heat of people being like, why did you send this kid lingerie, is so like kind of victim blamey. It kind of reminds me of any sort of Me Too type of situation where it's like, well, she asked for it. You know what I mean? And with him, he did literally ask for it, but he didn't even really ask for it, because again, I know he said, yeah, I want this, in response to them asking him. So it's not even like he was really, the idea came from his head. But even if the idea did come from his head, it's so, he's a child. Like, that's so creepy to even want to give that to a kid. Like, I understand 14 is a teenager, but if you're an adult and you look at a 14-year-old and you don't see a kid, not a baby, right? Not a 4-year-old, not a 10-year-old, but like still a kid. Like somebody who's still not in the immature world, but just somebody who's, I don't know, like the way you view any kid, right? It's just weird. It's weird. There's kind of no explaining it, really. Because say you do think that's funny, that you want to send lingerie to a fan. That could be funny if the fan is an adult, right? Like, especially, like, say they're in their 20s. That would be funny. Or it could be funny, I should say, because I don't even really think it's funny. But I could see how that could be funny, you know? But a 14-year-old? How is that funny? That's weird, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's not just me, but you know what I mean. Ballinger painted a seemingly accurate portrait of the Miranda Sings community. Silly place for kids like McIntyre to belong, looking up to an increasingly famous, powerful public figure. I'm not a monster, I'm not a groomer, and I do not deserve that. Alluding to possibility. Okay, I have to say this. I hate when YouTubers bring up death threats as something legitimate, when the truth of the matter is, whenever any sort of hate train happens to anybody online, people get death threats that are empty threats. I don't like that. I'm not saying that that's like nothing, right? Like, I'm sure it hurts to see those kind of comments being said to you, but they're empty threats. Like, you can't say something like this where it's like, I don't deserve to die. Like, nobody actually wants you to die when they say that. They just want you to feel terrible, and that's why they say that. And I feel like she must know that. I think she's just saying this to garner sympathy. I don't know if that's true, but come on, like, don't. They're empty threats. Like, I don't like this. I'm not a monster. I'm not a groomer. I mean, yes, she has to defend herself, I guess. But she's lying. It is always better to just apologize than to straight up lie like this, because it's only going to get worse. Colleen, it's going to get so much worse for you. I could just feel it in my spirit, you know? I could feel it in my spirit. It's going to get worse. Well, I'll be here to document it as it happens. So long as she doesn't genuinely apologize, it's going to get worse. That's what I think. And I think I said this in my first Colleen video where I was like, you need to give a real apology. And even before she did her video addressing it, the Hi video, because I was making that video before that video dropped, I was going to say she needs to give a real apology. She needs to not think that this stuff is just going to go away, because I could tell the accusations that are against her are legit, and the old resurfaced content that's coming out is really bad. So she needs to give a real apology, or she's not going to get out of this. People are going to find more stuff. People are going to find more old content, and people also are going to come out with more accusations. of the bad actions that she's doing. It's going to get worse. I could just feel it's going to get worse. But anyway. Public opinion, or at least YouTube fandom, swayed back toward Ballinger, though the pendulum would swing back and forth for years. Back and forth? From what I know about her, she was basically loved. Then maybe the pendulum swung a bit with Adam's video. She definitely got some people to not like her because of his video. But she's still, like, she came out of that pretty strong, to be honest. She came out of it pretty strong still. So I don't think Adam's video really did much to her. But it's only now that I honestly think she was just loved the whole time until 2023. Because maybe a few people disliked her back when Adam made his video. But generally speaking, she had a great reputation until this current scandal. So I don't think it was a pendulum for her. Anyways, McIntyre established a new YouTube identity as as Ballinger's whistleblower? That's not true. I remember when he came out with his Colleen video, and I told you I hated the Miranda Sings character in high school, so I never found Colleen intriguing or interesting, like, on her own. So I never cared to follow Colleen. I never cared for Miranda Sings, obviously, so I never really followed her. But I do remember when Adam's video dropped, and I remember liking him. Like, I liked his personality. Like, and you know, that could be a big reason, one of the big reasons that Colleen kind of picks on him so much is because he kind of has what she doesn't, which is that genuinely, what's the word? Like, an enjoyable personality. Like, people, even though Adam makes videos, I guess you could say drama videos about other YouTubers, basically, which is what I was trying to say over here when it says YouTube's identity is Ballinger's whistleblower. His new YouTube identity, if anything, is just like being a drama channel, essentially. But he does veer off into other content, because I know he does like Reddit threads, reading through those, and he does vlogs about his own life, and he loves to play The Sims. So believe me, I watch his videos, right? But what was I saying? What I was saying was, I think Colleen, again, part of the reason she hated him so much, or really targeted him a lot, is because he kind of saw that light that he has that she doesn't have. That light being his enjoyable personality. She doesn't have that, in my opinion, right? I mean, I'm a grown adult. I'm older than Adam, younger than Colleen. And when his video dropped about Colleen, I obviously believed him, right? But I do remember being like, you know, like, let me watch his other videos. I like this kid, you know? And I watch his other videos and I'm like, wow, it's like, I don't know if the word is that he's mature or wise, or like, I don't know what exactly it is. All I knew was, even though I was, this was 2020. So even though I was like 22 at the time, I was able to watch the 17-year-old and enjoy his videos and not view him as like annoying or childish or anything like that. Like, he has a great personality, and I think Colleen is aware of that, and I think that's why she liked to pick on him a lot, and why she kind of targeted him for like making weird inappropriate comments. Like, I remember Adam was saying that somebody tweeted at him and was like, why does she only make those kind of weird sexual comments about you? And like, even now, like in this Vanity Fair article, they're mentioning Adam by name. Like, why him? Obviously, in this article, you could say that they're naming him by name because he's the one who made the 2020 video and who's kind of spearheading the 2023, big cancellation that she's going through. But I think back in the day when she would target him in the group chats, right, the Weenies chat and whatever, I do think she saw something in him and was angry that he has that and she doesn't. I do believe that. I'm sorry. I spoke for a really long time to say I think Colleen was essentially envious of Adam's personality, which is weird. You don't think of personality as something that somebody could be jealous of or envious of, but it's definitely a thing that people wish that they had. And I think the reason for that could be that we kind of can tell that Colleen wants to be a star. She wants to be very famous. And if she just had that enjoyable personality, she would be huge. Because she has the talent. She had a show on Netflix. So, like, she's there in that world, right? She's, like, friends with Ariana Grande, or at least used to be. She hangs out with Ariana's brother, Frankie Grande. So, like, she's already in that world. She already has the talent to back it up. But what is she missing? She's missing that it factor. She's missing that personality. She's missing that thing that just makes somebody special. She doesn't have that, but Adam does. And I think I think that's why she kind of, I don't know if she hates him, but I think that's why she targets him a lot. In just throughout the years. I think that's the reason. And even though he was so young, like, she sees, like, he's young and he's got that it factor. She saw the potential. She saw the potential and she hated it because she doesn't have that. That's what I think anyway. Because because another thing too is, like, I guess I would say I'm slightly mature for my age. Slightly. Especially when it comes to, like, my interest in entertainment and stuff. So for me at 22, to be able to genuinely enjoy a 17-year-old's videos does say something about that 17-year-old, in my opinion. It does say something about his personality and how likable he is. So, yeah, all of this to say, I don't know how that idea, that thought process, that stream of consciousness that I just had came up in my head. But I'm going to leave it all in case Adam ever hears it, because he might be sitting there thinking, like, why me? Why does she target me in this way? Why does she always talk to me in these weird ways? I think that's the reason. I think she was envious of your personality, and I think she wanted to break you down so that you couldn't succeed in the way that she saw that you could. That's what I believe personally. But no, his new YouTube identity was not as Colleen's whistleblower. It was more so like a drama channel. And honestly, even now, he's branching out into other things. And through his drama videos, people watch and view his personality and like that and stay there for that. So I even think eventually he's really going to mostly be known for his personality more than anything. And I think that kills Colleen inside. That's just my opinion. Anyways. Whoa, frequently... Look, I talk so much I didn't even read the next part of the sentence. Frequently posting new videos, racking up hundreds of thousands of views by commenting on the hypocrisy of her every move. You know what I'm gonna do? Hey guys, sorry about that. I was trying to go to a different tab to see the videos that Adam posted and to compare the number of views he got from the Colleen videos versus all of his other videos, but the audio cut out, so I'm gonna have to re-record this last half of my reaction to this magazine article. So I'm just gonna continue. So as I was saying before, I don't think his new YouTube identity was being Colleen's whistleblower. I think he was more so just being a regular drama channel, you know, just commenting on different YouTubers and the things that they've been doing and the situations that they're in and stuff like that. So I disagree with this. I think this is a mischaracterization of Adam's YouTube identity and the kind of videos that he posts. Meanwhile, Ballinger continued to work on a YouTube channel that was far from her Miranda Sings satire. Colleen Vlogs offered wholesome lifestyle content about her kids. Yeah, and again, like, her personality never really spoke to me. She doesn't really have that it factor to me. I would say that Adam has, like, a charisma about him, and Colleen definitely doesn't, at least in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, I know that she made content like this. I wasn't watching it. I don't know who was watching it, but it wasn't me. McIntyre appeared to seize on this, accusing Ballinger's brother's family, the Ballinger family, who have a family-oriented channel, of endangering and exploiting their children online. How creepy that I feel. I watched them grow up. It's disgusting. His critique gave way to a denunciation of family channels more broadly. Yeah, so here to say that he, like, seized on this opportunity to criticize her wholesome lifestyle content about her kids. Adam's been saying stuff against family channels, I think even before Colleen made videos talking about her own family. I mean, I don't have the exact timeline right, but he's definitely heavily criticized, like, the Ace family, for example. So I don't know. He does go after everyone, all the famous family channels. He goes after all of them. So I wouldn't say that like he viewed her vlogs as like an opportunity to seize that he can say something against her. It's like I think he was making legitimate criticism. Like if she wasn't doing that and she was making regular content, I don't think he would really say anything. He wouldn't have anything to say. And again, it's like to seize on this like he's an attacker and she's this innocent person, like almost like a victim. You know what I mean? It's like the way they keep framing Adam as the aggressor and Colleen as the victim, I guess, is just, it's dishonest. It's definitely dishonest. Anyways, for years this drama was very insular and it probably should have stayed that way, but on June 7th, McIntyre posted an anti-Ballinger video, as he does every so often. Dude, he made this video on June 7th, and you can see in my other video that I made compiling all of the evidence against Colleen. He did that because of Cody Tyler's video that was posted on, I think it was June 4th. So, like, that wasn't his, like, run-of-the-mill, oh, I'm just gonna make another Colleen video, like, against her, like the way I always do. Like, no, he wouldn't have made that video if Cody didn't expose what she exposed, Yeah, so this is just describing what he talked about. Yeah, but it came out that the weenies were, God, the fact that I'm saying the weenies like they're a legitimate group of anybody. Anyways, other fans, along with Colleen's friend, and I think Colleen herself, were like talking badly about Adam behind his back when he was a teenager. Like he was 17 years old at the time that all this happened. So it's like, again, like another stream of blowback against Ballinger. He's the aggressor and she's the victim, right? Like he's the predator, she's the prey. It's just, again, it's a mischaracterization of the actual situation that was really going on. Yeah, grooming, okay. The substance of Ballinger's alleged grooming has not gone beyond McIntyre. What McIntyre? The substance of Ballinger's alleged grooming has not gone beyond what McIntyre has described in his videos, or what a few other fans alleged afterward. Yeah, I mean, like, he's not gonna lie. What are you saying here? Substance of Ballinger's alleged grooming, not beyond what he described. It has not been interrogated by media outlets reporting on the controversy either. I mean, I'm pretty sure they asked Colleen for a comment on Rolling Stone, and she's the one who didn't give any comments, so she could have easily cleared this up and be like, nope, that's not true. This is what happened. But she can't say that because she would be a liar, so. HuffPost published allegations of grooming. Flexibly employ the term. I see. Yeah, they're playing semantics right now. Anyway, you know how I feel about playing the semantics game. It's like, we can play this game all day long. Did she do something wrong or did she not? Is the severity really that bad or not? And based on what we know, the severity is pretty bad. It is pretty bad. It's very inappropriate the way she talked about sexual conversations with teenagers, like as if she's on the same level as them, but she's not. She's much older. So you can say she's a groomer or something else. Like, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is she was doing something wrong. That's really the fact of the matter. And honestly, take the sexual term out of sexual grooming. Like, she did kind of groom them, Like, she acted like she was on the same level so that they could feel like she's on the same level as them. And not the same, when I say the same level, I just mean the fact that they could talk about the same type of topics, like as if they're in the same age range. And she did that to get them comfortable enough with her to be able to use them for her own gain. I mean, that's what Adam accused her of, and I do believe that that's what she was doing. Like the way she was using Adam as a social media intern, unpaid social media intern, and pretended that she was gonna maybe give him a full-time position, never did. So, using them to make money off of them and to just feed her own ego, really. I think that's one of the biggest things that she was really doing with these kids, and the biggest reason why she cares so much to continuously have group chats with them. To this day, have group chats, according to Adam. There's apparently another Weenies chat, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a groomer, just a loser. Even if you're not a groomer, again, playing the semantics game, you can't just be like, oh, I'm just a loser, like you're harmless or something. You're not harmless. You're playing harmless. You're playing prey so that people don't realize that you're actually the predator. I mean, the way she's acting in this article, the way she acts in her videos, she really is the embodiment of a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's kind of what's been coming out about her recently. She's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And she's going to continue dressing like a sheep because that's the only way she can, I don't know, like get away with what she's doing and continue to do what she's doing, which is what she wants to do. Yeah. The apology, okay, not an apology, it was just a response video. Blackface, corrections were not issued. Yeah, we know this. Look at this. McIntyre and another former fan have also alleged that Ballinger sent them nude photos from a sex worker, posting unverified, if troubling text messages is proof. Listen, this quote-unquote sex worker is someone who's known on YouTube. It's Trisha Paytas, and she actually used to be Colleen's co-host on a podcast they had together, and Trisha herself verified that the messages being sent were true. So you can't say unverified when the sex worker themselves verified it. That means it's verified. Trisha's not going to sit here and be like, oh, you know what, this totally happened against this woman that she was doing a podcast with that she thought was at least on acquaintance terms with, if not an actual friend. So this is a lie. This is another lie. Racially insensitive comic performances that she apologized for, roared back. Yeah, this is what happens, I'm telling you. When you don't give a real apology, your old terrible content, old offensive content comes back. And people hate on you for making that content more. Then if you do give a genuine apology, then they forget about it. That's not murky, that's just how YouTube works, and you only could think it's murky if you just don't understand YouTube. Don't compare yourself to Amber Heard. That situation is so different. If there's any situation that's murky, I would say it's the Amber Heard situation, because people debate on who was the aggressor and who was the abuser in that relationship to this day. Whereas with Miranda and Adam, it's kind of clear. Like, I think Adam, even at his worst, you still couldn't really consider him like an aggressor or the one who's really initiating all of the attacks. Because Colleen started it. She did it first, especially with the sending him lingerie. And also even with the group chats. I don't know. I don't think those two are on the same level as each other, Adam and Colleen. But what do I know? Yeah, Adam reacted to it. What does this mean back then, a teenage McIntyre? Perhaps hope for sympathy, another chance, a way back into the Ballinger fold. The internet is generally too cruel for that, its judgment's too swift. Like, to be forgiven by her other fans that are in her group chats? Like, is that what that's referring to? I'm kind of confused at what this writer means by this. Teenage McIntyre, perhaps hope for sympathy, another chance, a way back to Ballinger fold. That's not what he was hoping for. He just wanted a genuine apology from this woman that was starting a hate campaign against him because he tweeted out something that could be considered offensive, and she got backlash for it. Honestly, she could have even, sometimes honesty really is the best policy, because she could have easily just been like, you know what, this is the truth about this tweet. And just revealed that she was taking someone under her wing, that he actually is a member of the LGBTQ community. He didn't know any better. She wanted to prop up a fan. Like, she actually, if she wasn't so worried about appearances and instead was just somebody who wanted to help her own image and to be honest about it, her tweet that got so much hate about like coming out as a Meghan Trainor fan, she could have bounced back from that tweet easily, and if anything came out as somebody who's really good just by doing what I just said, which is tell the truth. Like, she gave someone her login information so that he can tweet on her behalf. And again, she could have even came off as somebody who was giving her fans jobs, but in a good way, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm giving back to this YouTube community that gave me so much. Look at this kid who I gave him a job as a social media intern. He messed up. Please forgive him. And she could have been saved. Adam could have been saved. This whole article could have never have been made. She could have stayed in the good graces of YouTube. She could have stayed with her great reputation. It just goes to show how, like, I guess that's kind of why people talk about karma and how it's real in a sense, because it's like, if you're a good person, you could kind of make situations come out to be good, but when you're a bad person, you kind of just like get exposed and you panic, which is what I think Colleen did. It's like, she didn't make that tweet at all, but I think if she was a good person, or at least a decent person, she could have flipped that all around and framed it in a way where she looks good and even Adam looks good. And this whole, she could have not gotten canceled. But that's me. I mean, it's easy to think about it in hindsight, right? Hindsight is 2020. So it's easy for me to say that. It's not as clear as like the James Charles situation where it's like, dude, just stop doing things that are wrong. You know? Maybe she should hire me to be her PR person. Because I'm just saying, I do think that if she just took the approach of being like, oh, he's just a kid and I gave him my login information because I thought he had these really creative ideas and I wanted to give back to the community by letting my fans, help with Miranda content. Like, she could have came off looking so good. But no. She had to screw over a 17-year-old. Like, he was 17 and you're like gonna throw him under the bus like that. So weird. Anyways, but one can look at the devolution of the Miranda Sings empire and see that the longer it drags out, the harder it is to pin. Stop saying this. It's not hard to pin down. We've seen screenshots. We've seen DMs. We know what's going on. Justifiable outrage turns to silly memes and headlines and videos. Yeah, I mean, people are always going to make light of stuff. I think even with real life situations outside of YouTube, like politics and stuff like that, people will always make jokes too, just to like make things lighthearted. There's one thing the saga of Colleen Ballinger and her fans has taught us, is that today's YouTube winner is tomorrow's loser. You know what? I'm not going to lie. I do like this last part of this last sentence. With the James Charles Cosmopolitan article, I felt like it ended in a way that was really anticlimactic. But I feel like with this, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, the writer ate with this. It's that today's YouTube winner is tomorrow's loser. I like that. The only thing is, it implies that it was out of Colleen's control, but her cancellation, much like James's, it was in her control. Again, it's like, just stop being a bad person. Stop trying to turn people against each other. She's just a bully. She's a bully. She has these group chats so that she could be like, okay, who's the person I'm gonna pick on today? And then, oh, it's gonna be this person? Okay, let's all pick on this person. I mean, that's kind of this whole situation. What it really boils down to is like, she came out exposed as being a mean girl, basically. And who likes that? Nobody likes that. Who's gonna want to support somebody who's like that, No. So is this article better than the James article? I think so. I think it was a lot more subtle in how it was leaning towards supporting Colleen than James's was. I mean, it was still very pro Colleen and anti anyone speaking against Colleen, especially Adam. But at least it wasn't like puffing her up so much. Like they could have mentioned how she worked on Broadway and I mean they talked about her Netflix show, I think, but they could have really hyped her up and puffed her up even more the way that they did with James in the Cosmo article. So I do appreciate that it was at least a little more subtle in its support of Colleen compared to James's article, because it was very clear, like the way that they try to justify certain things in this article. Like, I'm trying to think. Like here where it says like she's been accused from certain things like performing in blackface to texting a sex worker's new photo to a minor, and then they only address one of those accusations and not the other. So like it definitely is clearly supposed to support Colleen and make her not look bad, but at least it wasn't as extreme as James's was. And I think this article did a better job of framing her as a victim. I mean, I know she's not a victim, but if you were to read this article, you might possibly think that she was one, especially if you haven't been keeping up with the situation. But that being said, it's kind of crazy that they name Adam out, like they call Adam out by name and really just have at it with him and just frame him as somebody who's like this is obsessed fan of Colleen who's has this vendetta against her because of the backlash that happened from that tweet back in 2020. And that is not an honest characterization of his beef with her. And I don't use the term beef lightly. I'm just trying to say it in the easiest way possible. Like, his problems with her go beyond just being mad about one situation. Like, let's be honest. Yeah, I think Colleen is a hater of Adam's. At least more than Adam is a hater of Colleen's. Um, yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this article. It's definitely clearly biased towards Colleen. It calls Adam out and totally discredits him, or at least tries to, and mischaracterizes him. And I disagree with it. It's not a fair article for sure. Like Rolling Stone at least tried to reach out to Colleen for comment, and she didn't comment. And probably because, I mean, I don't know. Again, when you're guilty, it's like you have to play these kind of games where you have someone write an article for you that makes you look good or makes you look like the victim, because if she were to just come out with the truth is not gonna set her free. You know, the truth is not gonna paint her in a good light because she didn't do something good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this article is really helping her. I think, if anything, it just makes it worse because people are keeping up with this. First of all, she's not a mainstream celebrity. We gotta understand this. So, the only people who are keeping up with her situation are people who are into YouTube and who are on YouTube. And people who are on YouTube, we know what happened, you know? We know what happened, and we're not gonna believe an article like this, you know? I guess maybe some casual viewers might believe it, but for the most part, all this is doing is making her look worse because we're seeing her for who she really is, which is someone who just wants to appear to look good so that they could continue getting views on YouTube and whatnot and just going back to their regular life and not acknowledging that the harm that they cause to other people. Yeah, she needs to give a real apology. She needs to give a real apology. If she doesn't give a real apology anytime soon, it's just gonna get worse. It's gonna keep getting worse and worse until she gives a real apology. That's what I think. That's my prediction after this article. It's just gonna get worse and worse for her. Because that's how it works. It's like, unless she goes completely silent for such a long time that people forget about it. But even then, the second she comes back, people are going to be like, okay, what is she going to say about it? You know? She might want to try to just pull a Shane, which is like just laugh it off after a few months and then go back to making her old content. And it could probably work, but she won't get the views she used to get. Her name will always have been tarnished. And that's because she treats people poorly. I mean, just don't treat, not even just anybody, don't treat your fans poorly, you know? They're the ones who put you in the position that you're at. So don't go back and do this to them where you just start slandering their name essentially. Yeah, so that is my reaction to this Vanity Fair article about Colleen Ballinger. If you enjoyed my reaction, please give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more of where this came from. I'm Epicharismatic, and I hope to see you all in the next video.